Welcome to the countdown. While you wait for the show to begin, try to relax, grab a drink, sit down, and just enjoy the music.
Yeah. Ooh, whoa.
Don't Christina it out.
Okay.
A little bit of land goes a long, long way. If you believe everything is okay, a little bit of land goes a long, long way. Sign the lease, bring the rings today. Everybody say money, love, money, 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 more money, more money. Money is my God. Money is my God. Money is my God.
She looks metallic.
Though I can't quite recall overnight sensation.
And we're live. Welcome to the shop. I am less prepared than usual. It's been a hell of a weekend. So how are you guys? How are you doing in there? Let me have a little bit of liquid energy because tonight it's never going to start. Ooh. Good Lord. I hope you had a nice week. Mine was okay. Let's say, yeah, kind of okay. Hey, Sen, from the chat. I see you. I see everyone. I wrote most of your names so that I can greet you, and let's start from there, so that at least I have greeted most of you. So welcome to Clarissa, Mate Duff, Zracek, Vanessa, Sasha, DZ, Deborah, Sen, Honeybee, Aaron, Orca, Phoenix, Metalhead Girl, Nora, Valak, Felicia, Christos, Martin, Galactic Knight, My Wig is on Fire, I like that one, Gregory, Wind of Gust, Castro, Zoe, Law for AHYC, Frank Kemper, COP, Maria, Martin, Kalija, Zach, and everybody else that just joined. Welcome, especially welcome if this is your first live stream. You're welcome to say hello to the comments if I haven't mentioned you. I can easily give you a shout out. Welcome. Norveg, did the doctor let you drink energy drink again? One. It's always one. And it has to last the whole night. So we're going to, thin it out a little bit with some lime water. Lime water. Ah, what an episode. Not much going on. A lot of filler, I would say. Metalhead Girl, I think you forgot to send an invite to the Discord. Oh yeah, I forgot to send an invite. I shouldn't even be here, actually. The plan was to just call off the live stream and go directly to the episode, because there is really not much to say about this episode to begin with. And I wasn't really feeling it tonight. It's a little bit like this. This week is a little bit like this, but I thought, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's have a little bit of fun. Maybe, go to bed a little earlier than usual, but at least we get to talk about whatever is going on in there. Before we begin, a little bit of mice updates. So after 10, 9, 11 days, I don't remember exactly, of, the daily meets between Spotty and Vilma, outside of the cage in, you know, in the safe environment, because you never know if they would have problems with each other, if they would feel territorial somehow. So after going every day for an hour in the small box together and be completely okay, yesterday we moved them back together. They are in the small recovery cage. It's actually, there was a divider in the middle, we removed that, and we housed them together since yesterday. And if everything goes well, hopefully next week we will bring them back to their original home, and this whole thing will be behind us. At least, you know, whatever happens, I am happy. She is here. She shouldn't be here, so I'm already happy for the time that we've been having. Christos, UK versus the world, and Jenny JK lost the lip sync when she decided to wear that green neon H&M joggers, girl. We're going to talk a little bit about it later. Not too much, because it's a shit season and you don't really want to give them too much of attention, you know, because that's how they learn. They eventually learn. It's not like they don't learn. But they need to understand that they really dropped the ball on UK Season 3, UK versus the world. That bunch of shit that basically they did in a month and a half of filming. Fulani, I'm old enough to remember when farts and chat were frowned upon by the show. Well, you're not that old, because it was already a couple of years ago. Never forget Rock'em Sakura. Damien, thank you so much for £1.79. Do you support Jasmine Kennedy and Bosco? Well, of course I don't support them. Why would I support them? Oh, God, we're going to go a little bit about that later on. Yeah, of course I support them. Why wouldn't I? What else do we have? Yeah, of course, during the live stream, comments at top RPDR videos, they will be highlighted for me. If you want to support, there are the super chats, we have a Patreon, and don't forget that we're also on Discord if you want to have a chit chat outside of the live stream. And all the links are in the description, as usual. Orca, this is final proof that Lady Camden is self-producing, because only a secure person would do a reveal of this kind. Spicy Icy, will you be watching Drag Race España Season 2? It was announced today. I don't know. Probably. I'll just, you know, give the middle finger to UK, but I want to finish Thailand Season 1 first, because it's really, really good. We just finished the Snatch Game episode tonight. Yeah, it's a great season. It's done very well, with so much respect for the queens, so much respect for the heart. You can really see that these people are happy to be there. They want to be there. They are doing something. They are creating something. You can feel it when you watch it. It's really good. It's really, really good. Marlon, a little bit of fart humor goes a long way. Well, a little bit, not too much. Spicy Icy. Oh yes, I read this one. Honeybee, I think season 14 is a lot better than the last UK season, but not by much. I think it's already a lot better, because at least I cannot see where they are trying to go with all of this. At least. Yes, it's a ton of shock value, but at least they put a little bit of effort. In UK Season 3, they didn't even put the minimum amount of effort. They were just like, okay, where are we going? Left? No, we're going right now. So, you know, a little bit. Orca, do you think they will crown Pangina because they want more money from Thailand? Absolutely not. It's a UK production. They will crown Bag of Shits. Get used to the idea. That is what's going to happen. Best case scenario, they're going to crown Blue Hydrangea. Best case, and that's your best case scenario. So you already understand the tone of the season. Oh shit. Okay, let's move quickly through this episode. Now, welcome to the shop. And in this episode, we have a non-elimination to make up for the fact that Cornbread left abruptly. 2 or 3 episodes ago, leaving production no other choice but to add a filler episode in order to fulfill the amount of episodes actually ordered by VH1. Because remember, if they want a special number of episodes, you have to deliver on whatever you promised. So we need a non-elimination episodes, which I think was this one. When you look at it, oh shit. There's not much going on. There's not much going on at all. We are back in the workroom. We are back to Diabetes complaining, and Diabetes has it for everyone because she comes immediately for George's, and I don't really have a problem with it. Explaining all of the reasons why she should be in the top and George's shouldn't have won. She called her outfit a piece of napkin. I mean, and you know, I wasn't really living for Diabetes, but after seeing what Georges have been doing outside of Drag Race, you know, when he is in full control of what he says, when he says them, without, you know, the pressure of working 15 hours a day, every day, being in isolation alone in your room, without internet, without a phone, you know, once all of that is going away, what the fuck are you doing, you know? And then I'm going to get an idea of who you are from that. So after getting a taste of Georges when the cameras are not rolling, I'm like, I think I'm starting to like Diabetes a little bit more. I'm actually enjoying her coming for you. And we have this all scenes that, of course, follows the villain edit of Diabetes that we saw the last episode, because they need to continue this narrative a little bit before she starts her redemption edit later on in the episodes. But for the moment, we need to be in the mindset that she's still a villain. So of course we also have confessionals coming in from Georges putting Daya in her place, confessionals from Jasmine, the narrator of Daya's villain edit. They also come in place to, you know, tell us that, yeah, she is wrong, she is this, and she's that. And I'm like, well, whatever she is, she can still blame it on the edit. Georges, what do you have to say for yourself? Oh, shit. You know, there's one thing about people. No, I'm not here to tell you how you should live your life. I'm here to tell you how I live my life. I always have a little bit more of attention for what people do when they have the possibility to get away with shit, or when they think that they could get away with shit. What do? Do they take responsibility for it, or do they just look the other way thinking, you know, if I can get away with it, what's the point? I think it's very, very telling that she apologized to Monet and Mo, but she didn't really apologize to Cynthia. I find that extremely curious, especially consider the clout power that all of these queens have. There is a clear imbalance in there. So I find it very curious. And you know, I don't really have a problem with Georges. I mean, I will just look the other way and pretend like you don't exist. Maybe in 2 or 3 years, I will look again and give you a second chance, because everyone deserves a second chance in 2 or 3 years. Moving on, what do we have next? RuPaul is back. Oh no, RuPaul is not back, because it's the day after and Diabetes is apologizing. And I was living for this. Diabetes was trying, they even cut her out. I don't know if you noticed. But in this conversation, she was basically saying, Georges, there are 2 different perspectives to this. As a friend, I am rooting for you. But as a competitor, I'm going to come for you as much as I can. But as a competitor part, they cut it out. You can really see the hard cut that they put in there. She's going to tell the same message later on, when usually queens have their mirror moments, but they didn't really have mirror moments this episode. But she's going to be allowed to verbalize it later on. Not yet, because we have to still be in that mode in which Diabetes is still a villain. We don't know what's going to happen. We have Jasmine coming in a confessional telling us again, yeah, Diabetes is apologizing, she doesn't give a shit. So this is not happening yet, but she will have a chance to properly explain herself, or even better, she will have a chance to explain herself without her explanation being edited out later on. This is all going to happen later on. And at the same time, of course, RuPaul comes in and announces the Maxi Challenge. We don't have a mini challenge as usual. We never have mini challenges anymore. But she also says something very interesting, because she says, Queens, we are almost halfway through the race. It's episode 7 and we are almost halfway. We are not even halfway yet. We are almost halfway. So later on, since I'm not going to really discuss the critiques later on, I'm going to talk a little bit about how many episodes am I expecting, and what will be going on in there. We will do this later. Nevertheless, almost halfway. It's fucking episode 7. So I told you, this is like season 14 all over again. Chat, Sen, wait, what happened with Georges and Cynthia? I am confused. I did not hear anything about this. Oh shit, one moment, let me read the comments, then I will tell you. Orca, I think Daya wasn't sorry because she is right, but she doesn't want for Georges to feel bad because it's not her fault that RuPaul have Grandma Boner on her. You know what? Georges is really, really lucky that the show is not trying to gaslight her, because she is buying into all the bullshit that the judges are serving. And she is lucky she's not in Jen's position. She is lucky that they want the best for her. Because if they wanted to gaslight her, she would be royally fucked. Like, royally fucked. Daniel Harris, what did you think of RuPaul judging? The critiques were okay. I didn't really have a problem with it. So basically, what happened is that Cynthia made some comments online, about George's dress. But she was basically saying, well, I don't really like it. I think it's a piece of fabric. But, in a way more nice than I will ever do it, And basically, Georges came out. She took it personal, as if it's like a personal attack. It's not like you are on television in a competition show where much of the lore of the whole thing is that people have also reviews and talk about things, and they discuss different kind of critiques. They give your opinion. You signed up for all of this shit. So you have a queens coming out and saying, I don't like the outfit. And you're going to answer making fun of the fact that this person had a car accident? I mean, how fucking out of touch do you have to be? And she's 22. I mean, she is not 5. She is 22. So, and then she went on the Roscoe's live party, and somebody asked, oh, who's your favorite queen from, what are you rooting for in UK versus the world? And she said, I am rooting for Monet. I mean, she could have said, I'm not watching. They could have cut it out. They could have edited it out. Instead, she went, well, I'm rooting for Monet. Which it's terrible because, I don't think there was anything racist with it. She just didn't even watch it. She know that there was somebody with an M in there, and she was a queen of color, so probably said the first name that came to mind. But people were like, oh my god, so you confuse people of color between them, you're racist. It was a shit show, but she apologized for that. Cynthia, as if nothing happened. Vanessa, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Or gaslighted like Blair Sinclair was to remember on All Stars. Oh my god, don't get me started with all of that. But with Blair, it was still acceptable. With Jen, they really went overboard. It was, my god. It was so much. She's lucky. She should think it twice before coming back for All Stars. So basically, this is what happened. And it's like, why are you going to apologize to queens who can basically cancel you if they want to? But then you're just completely ignoring the thing that it's like, 100 times worse that you did to one of these queens, that it's not exactly how can I say, the most followed queens for Drag Race, the queen who has the most shows online, you know, you're basically picking up on an easy prey, basically, and coming out with bullshit like that. And I mean, there's nothing wrong in being out of touch, especially if you're young. Just come back and say you're sorry. Come on. But she didn't apologize to Cynthia. It's like a Latina on Latina assassination. It's okay, San. It's okay. As long as at least you know. Oh shit. Anyway, from this we jump directly to rehearsal. What can I tell you about rehearsal? I had the time of my life. I actually like this channel. Yes, I actually like this challenge. And they didn't, you see, since it's not going to be since there's not going to be an elimination later on, they don't need to pull all of this editing magic bullshit that they usually do to make some queens look worse than they actually are. Some other queens look better. Sometimes you have like direct interference, like you have either Michelle or Ross or Ru or whoever is in there giving more feedback, more directions, complaining even more, even when a queen is actually performing well. But if she will have to be eliminated or she will have to be in the bottom, you can see that they push it. They put interference in there. They frustrate them. They ask them to repeat the lines 1,000 times. So usually when there is an acting challenge and we are into rehearsal, I am in defense mode because I have to prepare myself for all this bullshit. But since no one is going to actually go home later on, if you rewatch this episode and try to see if try to put your attention into seeing, well, is there something shady going on? Are they trying to pull some editing magic? It's Ru trying to bullshit some girls to, you know, make them nervous, make them fuck up the lines, getting some footage of them not being so good. Is any of this happening? Nothing of this is happening. So I had fun watching this, and I had the most fun watching Jasmine, Bosco, and you know, lady actress. Bosco was phenomenal. Bosco was really phenomenal. She didn't have many lines, but the little that she had, she was completely in character. And this fucking makeup, the makeup was amazing. And Jasmine looked like Alyssa. That was Alyssa Edwards. I'm seeing it now. You remember in the beginning when they said, well, she looks like a young Alyssa Edwards. And I was like, yeah, maybe not yet. Maybe not yet. She does. She does. It was not a bad challenge. They could have worked a little bit more with the script, but it was not a bad challenge. And it was not a bad rehearsal because I actually had fun watching this. Orca, say their names. It's Cynthia Lee Fontaine. It's Cynthia. I said it's Cynthia. I said it, but I will say it again. It was Cynthia Lee Fontaine. So, moving on. It's a new day in the workroom. We have no mirror moments, but we are going to talk about the Folsom Street Fair. And you know, I saw a thread on Reddit when there was a person completely losing it. I think he got an aneurysm because on Drag Race, a queer show, they talked about something queer, you know, a festival of sexual liberation. Because you have to understand one thing. This queer culture that Drag Race is basically selling to the straights out there, and I'm not saying this in a dismissive way. I'm just trying to give you the perspective of this person. So since Drag Race is going to sell the queer world to the straights, you have to absolutely remove any shred of sexual liberation, any shred of anything that might not be family friendly. Because remember, we queers, we are not people with our history and our things that we believe in, our way of how we want to live our lives. No. We have to be family friendly because we are entertainment for these other people. So there was this idiot complaining. So, oh my god, these people are disgusting. Having sex in the street, they should be they should be outlawed. And my god, it was so like, I'm like, what the fuck is your problem? Let these people do whatever the fuck they want. This is not something that happens in any street. It's an event. It's a one specific event where people do whatever the fuck they want to do. So, you know, it's part of our culture. It's called sexual liberation for a reason. And I hope that the world will get a little bit more of that. Because if we had a little bit more of love, you know, that can go a long, long way, like land after all. So if people had a little bit more of that kind of love, everyone would be a little bit more relaxed, you know? Like, come on, don't be so uptight. Have a little bit of fun back there. There's nothing wrong with it. And I am surprised that Drag Race actually pulled it off, because they had the perfect opportunity with Rock and Sakura 2 seasons ago, if you know what I mean. But I am surprised that they actually gave a shout out to this festival. Very pleasantly surprised. Very pleasantly surprised. Chat, Luis Felipe, the first time Mamaru directed an acting challenge since season 7. Oh my god. Oh my god, the Shakespeare. The Shakespeare. It became iconic. I have to tell you this. It became iconic, the Shakespeare challenge. Everything about season 7 kind of became iconic. If you rewatch it now, it holds up pretty well. Honeybee, I think the reason the Georgios Roscoe's thing was viewed so negatively was because that they, Tace and Tia, were talking about all the UK black queens getting mixed up. Yeah, it was also a bad... it was a mix of bad circumstances. But, you know, considering what has been going on for Cynthia, from my point of view, it's also the universe coming back at you for some reason, because it really was a mix of bad circumstances, which was, you know, in a way a good thing. The doors Rockham opened. Ooh, and the windows. And the windows. He opened a lot of windows as well. So I'm happy to see Drag Race celebrating our culture a little bit more. I am happy that they do that. I don't have a problem with it. I'm actually really proud. The problem that I have is when they pull, you know, kind of shit that wants to appeal to much, much younger viewers. That's when I have a problem with it, because many aspects of our culture, they are not made for kids. They are not family friendly. They are not supposed to be family friendly. They shouldn't be nowhere near family and family friendly. So the moment the show wants to pull this kind of things, like talking and celebrating the Folsom Street Fair, and the moment after they try to appeal to kids, that's when I'm starting to have a problem, because you cannot have the two things. Either you have one or you have the other. So they're always trying to, in a way, walk this thin line in between. So we will see. Luis Felipe, do we remember last season when they were marketing the queens to baby drag mini child? Oh my god, don't even get me started on that. Don't even get me started. It was so bad, it was embarrassing. I felt second-hand embarrassment because of that. And I was also a little bit... No, I was not scared. There is another word for that. It made me apprehensive a little bit. It made me apprehensive. Orca, I think they made this episode the filler episode because this is hard on post-production. Well, they can make any episode a filler episode, because at the end of the day, if you really need one more episode, what you could do is just do everything as normal. Then the moment you go to the lip sync, you just say, okay, you know what, it's a double chante. And you are done with it. you can do that. But of course, if you already know that you're going to make an episode that it's going to be a filler because you suddenly realized, wait a moment, we have one episode less, the order was one episode more. So what do? Well, let's not send anyone home this episode. Okay, good. So who do we make lip sync? Oh, let's have Candy and Simone lip sync. And, for the drama. And then by the end of it, we save both of them. Which is, why do I even start talking about that? Nevertheless, moving on. What do we have? The runway. Very quickly. Willow and Bosco were my favorite. Both of them. Willow's outfit was really sexy. It was creative. And overall, it was impressive because she really managed to mix the seductiveness of the outfit, if you want to, with the campiness of it. And of course, it's Willow. So, of course, out of all of them, she was my favorite. Bosco, pink leather country look. I love it. She was beautiful. She was absolutely beautiful. Deja, don't love it. Next. Carrie. Carrie is 11 years late for the Airball challenge. You remember in season 3? They had it was the episode Shangela actually went home. They had a hairball. Make an outfit out of hair. I didn't like it, no. I appreciate the effort, but I didn't like it. George's, the outfit sparkles, but all I see is a car crash. Angeria wears gold because, of course, that's the color of a goddess. Jasmine, love Jasmine, ate the outfit. Lady, best runway reveal in a long time. Best runway reveal in a really, really long time. I actually believe she really fell. I didn't get anything of that it was prepared, that it was part of a reveal. I was like, shit, that bitch fell to the floor face first. It's like falling to the floor face first. It was good. It was good. It was really good. And then Diabetes, in her best interpretation of remote working during a pandemic. Because there was this huge thing, it was a U.S. thing, where people would ask each other, are you wearing pants? Are you wearing pants? Oh shit, it was a good runway. I liked it. And overall, they all did great. Overall. Then, I didn't really like... I didn't really like Jasmine, Deja, and Carrie. But on top of that, I started to develop this kind of... I just don't want to see George's anymore. Every time I see George's, my blood starts boiling a little bit. So I'm like, I don't care. You know what's the best thing to do? That I just ignore it. Because the more I get exposed to you, the more my blood boils, the more I don't have a good time. Let's just ignore it. In a couple of years, it will all pass, and let's see if you're still relevant enough to appear in my feed, and I can see what you're doing in a time in which I'm actually ready to change my mind about you. So, yeah. There is that. Moving on to the challenge. What did I think about this challenge? It was good. I liked it. What I didn't like were the fart jokes. I think it was incredibly overused. It would have been fun because they actually trolled the queens. The queens didn't know that basically this whole challenge was about farts. It's called Daytona Wins. They didn't really explain which kind of wins. But it was about that. So I really appreciated that they kind of troll the queens a little bit. But it was so overused that by the second fart joke, I was already like, are they going to do it for every single moment? Are we going to have fart jokes all over the place? And by the way, I agree in a way, fart jokes can be hilarious. unless you use them 30 times or you are Rock'em Sakura. In that case, it's not hilarious. So, guess how I counted how many fart jokes they put in there. Guess how many fart jokes they put in there. You will not believe it. Meanwhile, I will have a little bit of liquid energy. Spicy Icy. This challenge took the producer's memo, gaslight the queen to a whole other level. And the gas was part a bit too seriously. Valak, I kind of feel like the same way you feel about Georgia. She had a wonderful thing of the edit going on, but everything that happened with her last week, and I am over her. For the moment, yes. I mean, I'm not here to cancel anyone, but you know, I will also judge what you do, and based on that, say, okay, you know what? Come back in a couple of years, do a little bit of maturing, and then I will reconsider. 50, 39, 50, 35, 87, Sajuri, 666, 30. It was 30. They had 30 fart jokes put in there. One after the other. Not 69. Come on, let's not exaggerate. It was not that many. But they are 30. I think that if they had like 6 or 7, it would have been completely enough because they had perfect setups. You know, at some point when you see Carrie moving her hand, trying to, you know, get the smell to her nose, that's a perfect moment. Put one in there and then you're done. You know, you need 4 or 5 of these moments and everything works. But they really overused it. It was so much, it became annoying after a while. It's like, yeah, what am I, 5-year-old that I'm going to laugh through the... I was cringing. I think it kind of ruined the challenge. Another thing that I didn't appreciate is that they basically erased Asia O'Hara. Maybe since that reunion in which she basically proved that RuPaul was trying to gaslight the vixen without even saying that, because, you know, that's the meaning of being a queen. But Asia O'Hara was completely erased. You have Raja, and you have the 4-digit picture of Eureka in there. And that's it. I'm not saying we should have Fifi, because, I mean, Fifi doesn't even exist anymore as a character, but couldn't we have Asia O'Hara in there? No. The erasure, I'm telling you, the erasure. Now, I think this challenge really had great potential. They really tried to do something special. I mean, fucking with the queens in that way was a strike of genius, if you ask me. Could have been better. They could have taken it, you know, to the next level. But they really didn't. So all in all, I was satisfied. My favorite queen was Bosco. And my favorite line was when Michelle was doing the voiceover and she said, "Who invited these 2 prostitutes?" And Bosco turns around and said, "Make it 3 prostitutes." That was the best joke for me. It was the best. But all in all, all of the queens were funny. Unless they were involved in a car crash, of course. And for me, Bosco and Candem were the best. And it's not like I have like any kind of doubt about it. For me, they were like the best by far. And apparently all of the queens seem to agree, because later on in Untucked, when they're going to talk about it, pretty much everyone would agree that Bosco and Candem basically had this one in the bag. Let me go back. I think I lost a couple of comments here and there. Orca, did Scarlett Harlot direct this challenge? Oh, good lord, she still exists? Tiagi, I will fully agree that there were too many, but I went on a journey with fart jokes. I started off hating it and ended up laughing my ass off. Well, if I had a couple of drinks, maybe I would have had fun with it as well. For me, it was a little bit too much. Santiago, Georges didn't learn anything from the resident queen of Puerto Vallarta on All Star 6. She did not. She did not, but she was born to do drag, so what does it matter? Vanessa, I love the challenge and the fart jokes, maybe because I am an RN and deal with farts and poop all day long at work. Tiagi, to me, it was a great episode. It was very feel good. It was a good episode. It was. It was. You know what I really appreciated about this? And this is also one of the reasons why we're not going to have the critiques for this episode, because there is no need for that. Since they didn't need to push any narratives, since they didn't need to go through the usual mental gymnastic to either put some people in the bottom or save people from the bottom. You know, they are not trying to push anyone down in order to elevate others by comparison, because there is not much bullshit going on. They are not trying to push narratives during the critiques. That's why we're not going to have the critiques, because they basically elevated everyone in that runway. They had compliments for everyone. They recognized everybody's talent, which is something that you can do, and also be critical of what didn't really work, you know, like they do on Canada's Drag Race, season 2, not season 1. Recognize the talents on one hand, but also recognize the shortcomings on the other. It's not a difficult trick to manage. But this episode was proof that, incredibly, Michelle can give out compliments without being a total bitch about it. So, yeah, we really have no need for critiques. I appreciated this episode as well. From that point of view, I really appreciated it. It was a filler episode, but it was a filler episode without much bullshit going on. And that is also one of the reasons why we are having a way shorter review than usual, because there is really not much to talk about. Everything was pretty much the way I wish Drag Race would always be. I lost a ton of comments. Wait a second. Did the fart jokes actually distracted you from the actual performances? In a way, they did, because the moment you start rolling your eyes a little bit, you get distracted. You actually don't see what the queens are doing. You actually don't pay much attention to the way they are acting. And everybody at the end was like, Angira was like, I didn't do good. What I saw in the end was good for me. I appreciated a more serious tone coming from her. I thought it was perfect. It really... You know, there is such a thing like serious comedy. You know, you laugh because what you see it wants to be like very serious, but it's in a ridiculous situation. And it's still a form of comedy. So that's how I saw Angeria. She was not bad for me. Orca, they ruined Save the Queen, and now they ruined this one. Come on, why do you have good ideas for challenges, but they need to add some stupid twist? Some people appreciated it. The only thing that I can say about all of this is that for me it was way overused. And most of all, be fucking consistent. You cannot come one season saying, oh, fart jokes are not funny. And then you come back and you make a whole challenge based on fart jokes. I mean, we all know that deep down Michelle is full of shit. But at least try to have a little bit of common sense. If you said something like that, maybe during the episode, have a little bit of a comeback, you know, and say, you know what, a couple of years, we had this thing going on with Rock and Sakura, and we were wrong. We were wrong about it. Fart jokes are really funny. It's not difficult. You don't need to be a stuck-up bitch every single time. Damien, why wasn't Asia in the portrait room? That's what I thought as well. Watch back the reunion, then you tell me if you have any idea. Metalhead Girl, the way Angeria told Georges that she was born to do... Oh my god, that was one of the best part of Untucked. Angeria was like, yeah, because you were born to do drag. Yagi, do you think they are rewarding Daya to make her a villain since the edit for her went downhill again in Untucked? It could be, but don't forget that Daya still has a little bit going on with her story arc, because they started giving her a little bit of a redemption the moment, because you have to understand this. When they went back in the workroom, they didn't cut out the whole part. Oh, wait a moment. Where is it? Sorry. I realized I didn't plug in my laptop, which means in a moment, everything would have shut down. So they gave her a chance to explain herself, and it made the final cut. So they are already starting to give her a little bit of a redemption to Diabetes. Then she wins the challenge, even more redemption. But it's not over yet, because the other half of her storyline is the fact that she looks like Crystal every single time, allegedly. So they still have to solve that. I don't think they're going to go back to a villain kind of edit. I think they're going to resolve this thing, and then either she will go home or she will completely rise, like Alicia Keys predicted back in, what was it, episode 1, episode 2, the second premiere. Spicy Icy, I think they threw Daya in the top 2 placement as a treat for taking the bait the episode before. Could be. It could be. But the point is, if this was indeed a bait, then we wouldn't have seen the human side of her. They wouldn't have allowed us to see that. Because on one hand, you try to gaslight the person that you have in there. You try to bait them. You try to bait them into a false sense of security so that you can completely exploit them at some point. But if that was the point, we wouldn't have seen the human side. We wouldn't have seen the conversation, the explanation, which is actually a good explanation, because you can be friend with somebody in one hand, but also recognize that you are in a competition on the other. So you're going to do your best in order to beat your friend. So the fact that she was allowed to say something like this, for me, it's pretty much telling that whatever villain thing she had going on, it's not going on unless they're going to put a twist in there and somehow at some point bring it back again. It could be because, shock value. I learned to expect everything from this franchise. But personally, I don't think so. Next episode, she will not be a villain for me. Like at all. Oh, chat, don't skip. I missed a ton of comments. You were born to do drag. She was born to do drag. Don't forget that. Phoenix, but not born to meet the challenge requirements. Oh, Phoenix. Imagine that Alyssa take the bait and she would be on Daya's place. I would really like more Alyssa on my television. We always need more Alyssa. We never have enough Alyssa. Nicholas, sorry, just entered, but I have to say I love Jasmine's concept. I wouldn't have used this in this runway, though. I didn't like it. I didn't like the outfit. No. What else do we have? Oh, talking about the episode for the season. There we go. So I was thinking, how many episodes are we going to have for this fucking season? Because RuPaul came back and said, we are almost halfway there, and it's episode 7. So for me, there's going to be 16 episodes at this point, because maybe next episode we will be halfway through the season. So based on that idea, I tried to compile what was the plan for this season, the order, the number of episodes, especially based on the fact that last season, season 13, was actually 16 episodes as well. If we don't take into account that Corona special that really felt like a last-minute addition, something that went with the sensibilization campaign that was going on with VH1 and everything else. So I think that we're going to get 16 episodes for season 14. We already recovered from the episode that we lost when Cornbread was at some point, she had to go home, and we basically had like a double elimination in episode 5, and we are already recovering that with this episode. So what I am expecting from now on, it's going to be 5 more elimination episodes and 2 non-elimination episodes, namely the usual top 4 that we get at the end, when we basically have an episode with the top 4 and they do something together because, I don't know, they have to make an impression. And the other one is going to be the gold ticket. That can happen anywhere from episode 8 to episode 13, but at some point it will have to happen. Then of course a reunion and the live finale. Now I don't know, I cannot confirm this to you because I didn't take a screenshot, but I remember that at some point VH1 renewed Drag Race for 3 seasons, and when you renew something for a specific number of seasons, you usually renew also a specific number of episodes, which means not only this season is going to be 16 episodes like the season before, also the next one is going to be 16 episodes as well. So we will have to see about that. Of course, I cannot guarantee you that this is what's going to happen. This is my best interpretation of what could happen. But at least you get an idea of the fact that they have like an order of a specific number of episodes, and then they try to arrange everything inside to somehow fit the order. And if something happens, well, then you're fucked. You need to start adding filler episodes. Sen, JoJo's looks to me look like she forgot to put the bodysuit before the thigh high, but was too tired to change it because, you know, she was born to do drag. Well, I don't know if she doesn't really look lazy to me. She is just very stupid in a way, not in a bad way. It's not like she is lacking something that fundamentally should be there in order not to be stupid. I think she's mostly inexperienced. But there is also a little bit, a kind of a level of malice in there from what I saw from the outside, you know? Nothing worth canceling. But still, I don't like it. I'm not interested. I'm not buying it. And personally, you know, you can fuck off. You can honestly fuck off. It's not like we don't have enough queens, you know, that we have tons of queens that I can just say, you know what, I'm not interested. I'm going to ignore you. I wish you the best, but I'm still going to ignore you. Moving on, let's move on to Untucked very quickly. So in the beginning, we have Diabetic going full circle by basically pulling a Jasmine. There is this moment in which she starts talking and it never stops. Everybody is bitch-facing. You have a confessional of Bosco coming in and saying, my God, she talks so much. And she is right. She is right. I don't understand why she came for Jasmine so much. Because, yes, it's a joke. But, you know, when you do the same joke over and over, like 3 times in a matter of 1 hour, then I'm starting to think, well, your joking comes off as a little bit of plausible deniability. Why? What's the problem? I think she is projecting a little bit on Jasmine because she does the exact same things. She, you know, takes moments for herself and starts talking like there's no tomorrow. She complains about being safe. She talks too much. She is basically a carbon copy of Jasmine. And, you know, I wouldn't have a problem with it if she didn't call Jasmine every step of the way. Jasmine, you talk too much. Jasmine, you complain about being safe. So we have this magical moment in which basically everybody is calling out Diabetes for pulling a Jasmine. And I was living. The audience was probably living. It was part of her redemption arc, because after this, she's going to be declared a winner. So, not a winner, a top two. Then after this, Jasmine has a moment and Diabetes interrupts her twice. Just to have the whole thing going full circle. One of the 2 times she interrupts Jasmine to ask to everyone, so who do you think it's going to be the top 2? And basically the answer is, well, pretty much we all agreed that Bosco and Camden are the one who had this one in the back. Oh shit. Shit. It's like, I don't know. It's difficult to say because there is a whole layer of editing in the middle. It's difficult to say. But if things like these were happening outside of Drag Race, I don't know. I would. Part of me would want someone to troll her a little bit. Not in a bad way, just a little bit, to have a little bit of fun with it. Possibly another Queens, you know? I could imagine Bob, for example, trolling her a little bit. With this thing of wanting to get more attention. So, I don't know. Yes, Luis Felipe, me too. I miss Canada's Drag Race, me too. Castro, to me, they can eliminate Georgia's next and have a top 8 for the finale. Yeah, I am done. I mean, if it's on the show, I will be honest. There is so much going on that it's very difficult for me to take something from the show and say, okay, I'm really not interested in saying anything more about you. Because, yeah, even if you say the things that you say, Drag Race is not a normal situation. The amount of pressure, the money that you invested, who knows what the fuck happens behind the scenes, who know who they talk to, who know in which situations they are. I can basically forgive almost everything if it comes off of Drag Race. But when it comes from the outside, I'm more like, oh, you did this thing. I'm not going to forget that. And if you remember the resident queen of Puerto Vallarta, I still haven't forgot that. So, in the race, yes, we can discuss about everything, and I will believe nothing of whatever I saw on screen. Yet, if you start fucking outside of the show, I will remember that. And we have, we had literally thousands of drag queens ready to entertain us online. So if you fuck it up and you don't do anything to make amends for it, you just act like you are the shit, then guess what? I'm going to move to the next one. I'm just going to ignore you. And that's the worst thing that you can do to somebody that you don't like. Just ignoring them. That's literally the worst thing. Galactic Knight, is it bad I wish they kept gaslighting Daya being saved this episodes again? Well, I think she would have gotten an aneurysm if she was safe again. It would have been fun to watch. Because I think that deep down, she is a resilient person. She is not like a person that could be easily broken by all the bullshit that goes on while filming. She's not Jen by that point of view. Jen, you could really see that she was broken. She was completely done. Diabetes is way stronger for me. So based on that, I would have liked it as well. I would have liked it to see her completely lose it. And maybe even more people actually calling out the fact that it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing if they start calling out the fact that she's just like Jasmine. Because at that point, you're basically giving a feedback to this person saying, listen, you're being a little bit too much with this other queen here. Not because she's doing necessarily something wrong. It's because you see in her something that you don't like about you. That's so, and from there you start the growing process. You know what I mean? So one thing that I found interesting about this Untucked is that T.S. Madison probably said something, but it didn't make it to the final cut. I don't know why they would cut it. I don't know if they ran out of time. I don't know if they wanted Jasmine coming out later on to have more of an impact, and so they cut out what she said. What I know is that at some point, T.S. Madison comes in, and she starts saying, "We are queer people. We should never forget the importance of family." And everyone's reaction, I mean, look at Georgia's and Jasmine's reaction. They are crying. And I'm like, what the fuck are you crying about? She just said it's important that we keep good ties with our family. You know, family, or chosen family, whatever it is. Don't forget it's important. And you see them completely cry. Let me enlarge this picture so that you can have a good idea of what's going on. Where is it? There we go. I mean, look at them. Look at them. Look at George's. You don't see the expression with their mouth. They're like they are like crying. I'm like, what the fuck are you crying about? I don't understand it. That is because something happened in there, but we didn't get to see it. We didn't get to see it. Wait a moment. How can I put this image back? I fucked it up. I fucked it up. There we go. Wait. There we go. So I think that she talked about something that was not very easy to digest. And that's why we had those reactions. And that's what sparkled everything else later on. I would have liked to see it. Nevertheless, after this, Jasmine basically comes out. She comes out as trans. But before she does that, she says something that I find very interesting, very realistic. Because she said, from Drag Race, what I am looking for is financial stability. Which is perfectly understandable. I mean, going through the pandemic and depending on which kind of job you have, it could have really bankrupted you easily. And she actually says it. I had problem actually buying food. But the thing that it's the most important to me is the fact that she actually started her transition after coming back home from Drag Race. She says, during Untucked, she says, I didn't want to start hormone replacement therapy before because I didn't want it to affect what I was doing on the race, which is understandable. The other thing that makes me curious about it is, could it be that you couldn't really afford it? Because if you had problems buying food, how would have you been able to afford, therapy for transitioning? And maybe you don't really want to say it. That is the thing that really got to me. Because all I see online is a lot of conversation about pronouns, a lot of conversation about people calling other people phobic because sometimes it's really stupid things, like they ask stupid questions that seem kind of offensive, but they don't really have much of malice depending on the case. But sometimes, too many times, I see that there is no actual malice behind it. It's just people trying to educate themselves and asking uncomfortable questions, if you will. And I see a lot of this, and I never see enough conversation about these people, like Jasmine, for example, who are trapped in the wrong body and they cannot even afford to get out of this situation. They cannot even afford fucking therapy. And it's not transitioning, it's an expensive thing. You can start with hormones, yes, of course, but eventually some form of surgery will be required based on the amount of dysphoria that you have. In the majority of cases, it will be required. So, I see a lot of all of these things online, and I'm not saying that they don't deserve attention or they are not important, but I'm like, how can we spend so much time talk about these kind of things when we have this other thing right here which has a massive impact on people that want to transition, and we just ignore it. We just push it aside to talk about other things until that's all people talk about, and they completely forget that there are people on this planet in countries, like in big countries, and they cannot even afford to transition. That's the really heartbreaking part for me. Not to mention that wherever you are in the world, if you are trans and it shows, you're not able to completely pass as a woman or as a man, then it's going to be much more difficult for you to find job or to hold on to that job. I hope I'm not saying anything that surprises anyone, because this is the state of the heart right now. So I would like people to talk more about these kind of things. Much more. Moving on. What do we have? The lip sync. Now, did I like this lip sync? Well, yes. In general, yes. There was not much editing magic going on, which I did appreciate. Of course, we had a ton of close-ups because, it's Drag Race. Of course, there's going to be close-ups. What did I think about the performances? I loved Lady Camden the most. I think she killed it. Diabetes, not so much. She was a pointer queen. She was pointing so much. She was basically pointing the whole time, and she had this kind of hangry vibe. And I'm like, I don't really think this is what the song is about. I mean, yeah, the chorus go, one way or the other, I'm gonna get you, but it's not like it's a threat. It's more like, I think, enjoying the fact that the other person will become kind of paranoid because they will never know if you're going to come for them or not, and you are basically living your moment because of that. It's a little bit, it's not about anger. This is not a hangry song or a revenge song for me. So I didn't really like the interpretation from Diabetes. But I did like Lady Camden. I thought she really brought it the next level. The whole campiness of it perfectly worked with the song for me. So I liked her more, and I'm happy that she won. Orca, in Germany you can do transition semi-free, and I know people who moved there only because they're not able to afford this process. Eric, also you don't need to have dysphoria in order to be trans. Of course, but it's going to be much more difficult if you're trans and you have dysphoria, because then you need to do something about it. Okay, so what do I think about speculations? Before we take a little bit of a pause, move on to our Kiki Times and start talking about something else. Basically, I would say I would stay with everything that I said during the last episode, which means Jasmine, Deja, and Carrie if they went for shock value. These are the most likely to go home. Now, one thing about Jasmine, because she really went full circle in this episode. So at this point, I think two different things might happen. She also had a mirror moment already. I think two different things might happen. Either her redemption arc is closed, and she's basically ready to go home next episode, Or maybe they're going to take us for a ride and find out that even though Georgios was the one born to do drag, the real young and talented of the season is going to be Jasmine. So I don't know if it's more my wish, and to be like, maybe they go for shock value. Maybe Jasmine will be, will be the real young and talented that goes to the top and to the finale. But basically, with Jasmine, I see these two possibilities and nothing in between. Because basically, her story is closed. It's a beautiful story arc. It's a redemption story arc. But it closes with this episode. So either she's going to go home or a new storyline is going to open. And I'm curious to see where we go with this. And another thing with Diabetes. Whatever they are planning for her story arc is not closed yet. Because they pushed so much on the fact that she looks like Crystal. She paints like Crystal. RuPaul said it a couple times already. We had constantly Diabetes bringing it up. We have constantly Jasmine, who is the narrator of her Headed, saying over and over again, she looks so much like Crystal. That's a storyline. There needs to be a arc there. So whatever is going on with her, until that arc is complete, she's not going anywhere. Ashton Chan for $5. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Loving your channel with Willow Stan here. I can relate to that. I can completely relate. I love Willow too. Spicy Icy, do you have an idea who could get the chocolate bar? Not really. It could really be anyone. But since they're going to go for shock value, the best that I can tell you what I would do if I was a producer. I would have given this fucking chocolate. First of all, you can give it basically in the moment. You don't need to give it to someone like days in advance because they don't keep them with them. So they can do a switcheroo like 5 minutes before they go to the main stage and open the whole thing. So, if I was producing this, I would try to make it as dramatic as possible. Take someone that it's a front runner, make them lose a lip sync, maybe if they didn't even lose it, and then pull out this old chocolate bar thing. So, for me, the best candidate to have it, would it be Willow and Angeria? Point is, will they have a bee in the bottom? Because this episode right here was a perfect opportunity and it didn't happen. So for me, it would be the most shocking if you go, for example, next episode and realize, oh my god, they just sent Willow home. That would make the most sense. Of course, you also want to take this shock value for you want to take it around for as much time as you possibly can, because people will be tuning in thinking, oh my god, who has it? Oh my god, what's going on? So of course they were not going to pull it on episode 3. But what I said before still stands, because it's going to be to happening after the off of the season. And when you think from an audience point of view, that's exactly the moment when you want to have it there. Like, I would say about 3/4 through the season, maybe a little bit before, not exactly 3/4, a little bit before that. Because once you use it, if your audience is not interested anymore, you better be as close as possible to the finale. So at least the audience will say, okay, I found out what happened to this very interesting twist, and now it's like 2 episodes before the finale, 1 episode before the finale. So I'm going to continue to tune in because I want to see how this all ends. So this is what I think it's going to happen. Because for me, it makes the most sense from an audience perspective. If you have a twist in there in the first place, you have it because you feel like you want to draw audiences in, not because you want to confuse the girls playing the games. This is something that it's done for the audience. Does the golden ticket replace a double shantay? Or there will be both? Well, based, if they really, the point is, we don't really know how many episodes they have, because everything seems to point out to the fact that it's going to be 16, because they had 16 last season, because RuPaul said we are almost halfway through, so episode 7, so next episode they're going to be halfway through, so it's 16 episodes. So I think the golden ticket replaces double Shantae. That is what's going to happen. Unless they got completely crazy and they do the same thing that they did for UK season 3, that they have a double sachet and a double Shantae, because you need to compensate to keep the same number of episodes. So either you have normal episodes, or you make up for the shock value by having a double Shantae, so you have one queen more, and then a double sachet, so you have one queen's less. And then you balance it and you maximize shock value. How probable it is? I don't think much, because that is one thing that it's really underused. Double Shantae, they use them every year. Double sachet, I don't think when even was the last time they used it in US seasons. Because you always think about it from a producer's perspective. You're always faced with the problem that you don't have enough episodes. That's the problem that you have. Either because a queen got injured, or the network realized last moment that the numbers are going up and they want one more episode because they created a new slot. So they want one more episode. That's why I think usually we get way more of the double Shantaes, because they allow you to generate more content for the network. So I don't think we're going to have any of that, because we will have the chocolate bar twist. If they wanted to have a double Shantae in there, this episode would have been a perfect opportunity. Instead, they decided to go for a simple non-elimination episode, which personally I like. I mean, all the double Shantae that we got last season, I didn't buy like any of them. It doesn't feel the same anymore. It doesn't feel earned, you know. Especially when you have Candy Muse coming out and say, "Well, I didn't know the words to that," and still, it was so good that it was a double Shantae, and she didn't know the words. So, Orca, season 8, yes, there you go. It was season 8, 6 years ago. And before that, in season 5? Yeah. So that's to prove how rare it is. That's something that either you program a long time before, otherwise it's not going to happen. You have a contract with the network. How many episodes do they want? 16? You have to deliver 16. Period. Okay. Tell you what. Tiagi, Candy actually confirmed she didn't. Yes, she confirmed it. She confirmed it. When I tell you, I didn't enjoy Candy on screen, but I do appreciate the fact that she comes forward. You know, she tells it how it is. Sometimes she's very confrontational, I know. She is so confrontational. Sometimes it really bugs the shit out of me. But she is honest. She is really honest. And that is something that I do appreciate. Yeah. Okay, let's go for a little bit of a pause. And then we can come back and talk about everything else that we want to talk about. See you in a moment. And we're back. Had a little bit of a vape. If you hear me coughing, is that I took advantage of the pause to be like, nicotine, good nicotine. Yeah, we did the speculations again, but if it helps, I basically confirmed everything that I said last time, because this was basically a filler episode, so with a couple things more, but it lasts like 5 minutes. And if you feel super lazy, it will be in an episode. It's going to be like really short. I think the next one is going to be the shortest episode of the Chop ever. It's going to be like 15 minutes, which is kind of incredible. Okay, let's move on to something else. Let me check if the mousy cam is working, so you have something to look at. Is it working? Doesn't seem to be working. Wait a moment. Come on. My god, I put so much effort to put all of this thing together, and of course it's not working. Why is it not working? Did I disconnect it somehow? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Technology. Technology. Oh, there we go. There we go. One moment. Background. No. This one. There we go. There we go. Damien, you definitely do need dysphoria. Well, it's not like you need to have it. It's not like something that you wish upon people. But yeah, that's the shitty deal. That's the shitty deal. Orca, good night. Good night. Emily, this episode was overall boring, but somehow got the highest rating ever. I don't think it was necessarily boring. Not much happened. That's the whole point. Not much happened. But for once, we didn't have to go through all of the bullshit and shenanigans. So it was refreshing. In a way, it was refreshing. Belsky, I'm dealing with a puppy humping me. Did you change your nickname? I don't recognize you anymore. Who are you? SK Art, I actually really enjoyed it. I hope on Tara. I hope Tara. Yay, mousies. Yeah, they're being shy as usual. I put some bedding in there, thinking, you know, maybe at some point they will start collecting it and bringing it in the housey, and you can get to see them a little. They are hard to spot. That's the problem. They are very, very private. Sarah, you don't need to experience dysphoria to be trans, if that's what the comment means. No, you don't need it. That's the whole thing. It's not like the two things go hand in hand. But if they do, that's when you're really fucked, because you need money in order to afford therapy, which is not only, you know, hormone therapy, it's not only surgical therapy, it's also, you know, mental therapy. So it's a complicated situation, and I don't think we have nearly enough conversations about that. That's the whole point. We don't talk enough about that. Now, going to UK versus the world. Thoughts? Belsky, I'm Melanie Louise Connor. Ooh, Melanie. I didn't recognize you. Like at all. I'm just using my name. Okay. Well, as long as I know that I know you, because we have like 5 moderators on the chat. So, you know, I know that I know you. I just didn't know which one you were. Emily, my problem with UK versus the world is, no offense, Jujubee, but I'd love to see more queens who haven't been given opportunities. Yeah. I mean, last episode for me was a shit show. They basically they could put anyone in the bottom, because when they have these sort of challenges, they can really edit anyone the way they want them. To Jimbo, Michelle even came out with the bullshit that, you followed instructions? Oh, Jimbo, you're not supposed to do that. You learn the choreo and then you do whatever the fuck you want with it. And if you don't do it, you're doing something bad. Which is like, come on, tell me that you want to do whatever the fuck you want without really telling me you want to do whatever the fuck you want. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. And that, listen, I understand Michelle is paid to do all of this, but I mean, it's the BBC. It's the BBC. I don't know. Oh, both the mouses are there. Incredible. And Vilma is building the nest. She's basically carrying toilet paper around. Which international queens would you cast for Canada versus the world? I want queens from every franchise. Like every franchise. I want it to be really international. I want to have at least a couple of representatives from each country. I want a proper season. I don't want an afterthoughts. At the end of the day, I'm not even going to be picky about the queens that you put in there. Of course, I have my favorites. Of course, I have queens that I would really like to see. But still, don't do it like an afterthought. Don't do this kind of bullshit where you basically put 6 queens in there and then you rig it because you need to have somebody winning because it's UK versus the world, so of course the UK needs to win. So, yeah, the mouses are going wild. Spotty is eating a little bit, then building the nest a little bit, then Vilma helps. It's so nice that they bonded. It's so nice that they bonded again. I am amazed. I really am amazed. They have such a strong bond that endured through everything. It's I don't know. I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful. Molly Pangina is the only queen that is keeping me watching. For me as well. For me as well. I don't mean disrespect to anyone, but you know, they basically eliminated all of the queens I was actually interested in. Vagina is the only one left in there because I really couldn't care less about everybody else. I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't care. It's not entertaining to me. Especially with the UK queens. You have so many queens to choose from. Why do you have to choose with... I mean, I don't have a problem with Blue. She is like doing everything she can for camera time, which is, I mean, it comes off as clear desperation. It's like you don't even believe in your power of entertaining people. And she does a ton of shit just for camera time and bag of shits. Seriously, bag of shits. You know? And she's going through the season with people being like, oh my god, she's so entitled. Oh my god, she's so lazy. And I'm like, haven't you seen her outside of Drag Race? Have you seen nothing outside of Drag Race? Because to me, that's exactly how she acted this entire time outside of Drag Race. So I wasn't really, if anything, I was expecting the edit to be more gracious toward her. You know, not really showing her being basically bratty all of the time. I was expecting the edit to cover it up a little bit more. But you never know. Maybe they will crown Blue-Eyed Ranger after all. So it comes in handy to push Baga a little bit more down. But it's so annoying. It's really annoying me. Especially for those queens who spent the money, especially for those queens who believed in it and thought, you know what, I'm not going to earn anything from this, but I'm going to prepare as best as I can. I'm going to go to the UK, I'm going to buy outfits, I'm going to do all of this because it's an opportunity. You know, like Lemon, like Cheryl Hall, like Pangina, like Jimbo. Those are people that really put in the work. Those are people who really cherish the opportunity to be there. So I don't know. Spicy Icy, I did not know why I had any expectations for UK versus the world. I completely agree with you. Well, when you also realized when it was filmed, which kind of environment, which kind of year, you start to realize that nothing good could have come from it. There wasn't time for it. It was filmed back to back to UK season 3, like literally back to back. They finished production for UK season 3. Maybe they had a couple of days to rest, and then they started immediately with UK versus the world. That's how it went down. And then the BBC found itself basically fucked because they had to edit 2 seasons in basically 6 months, 7 months, whatever it is. I don't know. It's a shit show. It's really a shit show. And I'm not here for it. Owen, UK versus the world just made me hate Canada's Drag Race more. Because, you know, if RuPaul judged it, Jimbo would have won. I'm not sure about it. A lot of the stuff that RuPaul does, she does it because she's paid to do it. I don't think she really cares about anyone. She is basically there working for the paycheck. Which is not necessarily a bad thing, because at least it means if you're not favoring anyone, it means that you're, from your perspective at least, you're being fair to everyone. And then you do everything that production wants you to do, because, you know, you need to develop storylines and whatever. But no, I don't think so. I don't think Jimbo ever had a chance to win to begin with, both seasons. Because queens like Jimbo never do. You know, they like the idea of having queens like this, but they never reward them. Daytona, now that Jimbo is out, what is your updated top 4 prediction? It's going to be Bag of Shits, Blue Hydrangea, Pangina, and maybe a U.S. queen. So I wouldn't want them to go to Jujubee, because if anything, she's just like they're proving that she doesn't even want to be there in a way. It's like she doesn't even care. So for me, Mo deserves it a little bit more. But I wouldn't have, if we're talking about top 3, I would have Pangina and the 2 UK queens. This is what I think is most likely to happen. If they are completely out of their mind, because think about it. They eliminated Blue Hydrangea, Lemon, because she outshines Blue Hydrangea. Then they eliminated Cheryl Hole because she outshined Bag of Shits. Then they eliminated Jimbo because she outshines everyone. So, I mean, it's like they are trying to eliminate anyone that can outshine the basic mediocrity of whoever they want to push in the foreground. So, Martina, are you still of the idea that an English queen is going to win? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like they don't give a shit. It's UK versus the world. It's produced by the BBC. A UK queen is going to win. Period. Since there is no prize money, maybe they will just do a double crowning, you know, so that World of Wonder is happy as well. They can have like a 50-50. After all, they don't have to spend anything. But yes, for sure, a UK queen is going to win. I have no doubt about it. I literally have no doubt about it. Daytona, how do you think this episode will shake out now, since Snatch Game is next? It could be Baga or Juju's moment. It's probably going to be Bag of Shit's moment, because she didn't have any moment and she has to be in the top 3. So this is a perfect opportunity. They even had her come on camera saying, I hope this challenge was the Snatch Game, because apparently she is funny. And you know, she is living proof that you just need to open your mouth in order to be funny, that it's already funny on its own. So yeah, I found this season very triggering in a way. Valek, what do you think of Jenny Jacquet being in the top of the competition along with Pangina at the moment? I don't think she is really a threat. I think they want to push these less known seasons as much as they can, because this is a joint production with World of Wonder as well. So of course they want visibility for other franchises. Everybody knows UK Drag Race UK, but not many people know Drag Race Thailand and Drag Race Holland. So it's in their best interest to push this a little bit more. But they basically dismissed her on episode 1 when they put her in the bottom. And then they tried to give her this kind of mini redemption arc with her winning. But I don't think she has any chance to actually going to the top. No. Which one is the worst season? Season 13 or UK versus season 13 all the way? All the way. At least UK versus the world will be how many? 6, 7 episodes? Season 13 was 17 episodes. With 7 non-elimination episodes. Good lord. Damien, my prediction, Jujubee will place 3rd again. Well, considering her track record, that's a very good prediction. Daytona, I think Queens could have also saved Jujubee because they thought fans would riot, but they didn't riot. It's also the fact that production, they decided to put these 2 queens in the bottom. And then they basically decided who is going to eliminate who. Because, these queens are like, we are not going to be smart playing this game. So they didn't actually agree on a queen in order to fuck production. And honestly, I don't think they even want to fuck production. It's like the whole season is completely scripted. Completely scripted. Everybody is doing what they are told to do. Everybody's acting. It's like, a normal season of Drag Race. The queens do the best they can to go in the competition and show who they are and showcase their brand and getting a fan base. And then they have to deal with whatever production throws at them. This season feels like production hired actors in order to enact the script. That's how it feels to me. It feels completely fake. Like completely fake. I don't think Manila is ever going to come back to the franchise. She basically cut ties with World of Wonder. The moment she started, what was it called? A drag competition in the Philippines, but I don't recall the name. And she came online saying, come to audition for our show. Our contract won't, we won't keep you under contract for 5 years or whatever it was. So she basically shaded World of Wonder. What I think happened is that they decided to do Drag Race Philippines, but they didn't ask Manila to actually host it. So she took another gig, or maybe she already had the other gig, and but I don't think so. And World of Wonder didn't want to wait for her. For whatever reason, she basically shaded them publicly. On the contract. You don't recover from that. At all. Drag Dan. Thank you, Damien. Drag Dan. So we will never see Jujubee in this franchise again. Like it happened to all the other queens. Like it happened to Willem, like it happened to Pearl, like it happened to Max, Courtney Act. Basically all of the banned queens, because, World of Wonder is made by people who are, in my opinion, huge bastards for doing this sort of bullshit. So, you know, this is my middle finger. Do whatever you want with it. It's really petty that they do this sort of shit. But, you know, it is how it is. It is how it is. So annoying. I find it so annoying. Cameron, didn't Jasmine Masters quit World of Wonder too? Not that I recall. My god, what they did to Stacy was so annoying. So, according to Stacy, she was told, you will be on All Stars 4. You know, like a competitor. And then last minute, they said, oh no, wait a minute, you will not be on the season. You will just make an appearance during the courtroom challenge, whatever that bullshit was. Yeah, they did the same to Willem. And she published the RuPaul's song. I think that was the time when that was the reason she was actually cut. Because she did that song. And I don't think Willem was happy about it. Now, I might be wrong. I might be wrong, so don't take my word for it. But basically, the whole All-Stars thing happened. Willem wasn't happy about it. She made the song. And then basically the whole situation escalated. So she started actually spilling all of the tea, you know? Like, okay, you cut me off, then I'm going to spill all of the bullshit that you did. Daytona, what's also interesting about Manila is that for the longest time she was rumored to compete on UK versus the world. And it was rumored that she was over or with Jujubee. Well, I didn't know she was rumored to be in there. But this thing was basically happening way before they even started filming UK versus the world. So for me, it was pretty clear that she wouldn't have been there. Jacob, I was surprised seeing Alaska on the pit stop. I thought World of Wonder is avoiding her because of how close she is to Willem. Yeah, she is close to Willem, but somehow Alaska always tiptoes around, you know? It's not like she is enabling Willem, or she is constantly agreeing with everything that Willem says. She actually acts a lot of time as a counterbalance to Willem. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. Also, Alaska is a winner. And you know, there is this thing of the all winner season that they keep coming off in the rumors over and over again. And to me, it's almost impossible to make an all winner seasons because you don't have enough winners. It's plain and simple. You have the numbers on paper, and then when you realize the people who are actually willing to compete, you realize you don't have enough people to make a season. So you know, it's a good thing to have Alaska there, because I'm quite sure she would accept an invitation to compete. She really believes in the other Drag Race thing. She was obsessed with Drag Race. She really wanted to win Drag Race. You know, it matters to her. It's not like other queens who say, yeah, Drag Race is a means to get something else. Alaska is more like, I want to win Drag Race because I want to win Drag Race, period. And also, it would be a perfect opportunity to come back at her. She actually had a song. It came out 2 or 3 months ago when she was actually shading World of Wonder. So that is the one that actually I'm more worried about. Let me get a little bit more comfortable. Let's let's hope I don't unplug the LAN cable. Daytona, they cut Willem off because Fifi couldn't be on and they wanted a storyline. Well, she would still have been a better choice than Mimi on first. Mimi wasn't ready to go on All Stars yet. D15, we know what happens to Georges this season. I mean, Cynthia, don't tell me anything. I'm not going to read that. I know that there was a spoiler in there. I didn't read it, so don't tell me. I'm not an idiot. I know that there are only 2 possible options. But I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Amer, I thought they are avoiding her due to connections to Sharon. She was present during everything and didn't do or say nothing. I don't know, it's difficult to say. These are all kind of shit that goes on behind the scenes, so unless you have somebody spilling something or you have a very good working theory, it's hard to say exactly what is the problem. But I can tell you one thing. World of Wonder must have known that all of that shit was going on. How could they not know? So for me, they knew and they couldn't care less. Because there is worse thing happening in the world, but if it's about money, people will happily turn a blind eye. Now that it's all in the clear, I don't know, maybe, but in a way, I mean, are people really coming for Alaska? Associating the 2 things? Were they even still together? Because I think they broke up immediately after season 5. Like really, really soon. I don't know. Ask for the upgrade. I live in New York City like Jasmine and work in the community. There are free social services for transgender people, doctors and therapists for the LGBT. That is great to hear, because from the outside I'm under the impression that basically in the US either you have insurance or you're basically fucked. So it's good to know there are these kind of services available. At least in some locations, let's say it like this. Fulani, I disagree with the international winners. RuPaul's Drag Race has enough to do a good season. They only need about 5 US winners. If they do international winners, then yes, absolutely yes. Especially if they develop the season in the US, because it has way more visibility that if they develop it for another country. If they do it international. I was talking if they do it U.S. version. Only winners of the U.S. version. So normal seasons and all stars. Chat, don't skip. Did Ritz publicly said that World of Wonder plays with people's lives and emotions after they cancelled her for All Star 6? Dida needs to understand that she needs to keep her mouth closed. You don't say these things, no matter how butthurt you are. Because being a queen from very, very early on, you have the potential to make an incredible comeback if they cast you for All Stars, and you have the talent and you evolved enough to back it all up. And talking like this will only push you out of the franchise, which is not the best move for your brand. I always say, of course there is no queen listening, but I say it to you. But I always say, if they have problems, they need to shut the fuck up. Best that you can do is spill something like behind the scenes as a rumor. Maybe, leave a little bit of a trail of breadcrumbs to some receipts that will not directly pinpoint back to you. And that's all that you do. You don't do more, because the moment you speak out, you basically lose any chance of ever getting any exposure from this franchise that has a basic monopoly on the industry. And I know what people are saying. Yeah, but there are many other drag shows that are coming. Yeah, but you could become an internet queen and whatever. Yeah, there are avenues, but it's more like it's more like mountain passes compared to a highway. We are not there yet. World of Wonder has, I think, like 90% of the visibility market, and everything else at less of a fraction of a percent. You just don't do that. You just don't do that. So I understand that maybe she got triggered by it, but you also have to understand the consequences. And I don't think she really understood the consequences, because she spent a lot of time complaining that she was not on All Stars. You don't complain about not being on All Stars. You ask to be on All Stars. You organize fun campaigns in order to bring visibility and have people asking you for All Stars. And then you wait for the right moment in which they will call you. And that's it. That's it. Don't get pressed about it. I know that you feel, when you think about it for a moment, if you have been doing drag for like 20 years, and you're already being on Drag Race, but the problem is that you have been in a season in which you didn't really have the opportunity to earn as much as all the other girls. When season 4 aired, best case scenario, she could command 1,000 for a gig after doing season 4. Now the girls come out of season 14 and they can easily command 10, 15,000, maybe even 20,000 for a live gig right now. So it's easy to feel pressed when you're like, oh my god, I have been in this franchise for 10 years. I could earn that kind of money. The only thing stopping me is receiving that call, and that call is not coming. So I understand that you feel the pressure. I understand that you might feel triggered, but you are not going to go anywhere if you act like this. Daytona, I'm pretty sure UK versus the World was filmed in like March. No, they said it. They actually said it because it was a rumor. But they actually confirmed it in the Roscoe's viewing party. So, in the Roscoe's viewing party, or I think maybe Jimbo was the one who spilled it in that interview with Tia Coffee. So, I don't know. There was a video of Alaska on stage, and Sharon basically had written a note full of slurs, and Alaska read them out loud on stage. Well, if it was a performance, the problem with slurs, for me, is when you use them in order to hurt people or dismiss people or dehumanize people. But context matters, at least for me. I know that the world works in another way, but for me, context matters. Spicy Icy, I really hope that each country gets their own All-Stars eventually, beside the international one. Could you imagine Canada's Drag Race All-Stars? That would be almost too good. The problem is, you need to have first enough queens to do that. Otherwise, you basically end up rehashing the same season, which means, ideally, you need to have 4 seasons already. So maybe we will be seeing a lot of these queens on International All-Stars before we actually see them on their own version of All-Stars. But Canada is really surprising me. Like, at the moment, Canada and Thailand are the best drag race that I've watched in the past couple of years, I think. Since season 12. I'm pretty sure they knew Sharon was problematic, because I'm pretty sure Dida said that she would say the N-word word regularly. Oh yes, of course they know. How can you not know? I mean, if she did all of that shit on set, and she did it in an offensive way, they had to know. I mean, a set is a big place full of people. D15, at the end of the day, what they showed of Jimbo in the Rusical was really poorly performed, but the Rusical itself was bad. Where are the writers of Rats the Rusical? Can we just retire the Rusical? Because if you have to write shit like that, let's just not have it. Because what's even the point? It's like, okay, we need to have a singing challenge. Let them sing. Write a good song. It doesn't even have to be like a good song. I mean, it could also be a RuPaul level song. And let them sing that. Maybe they can choreograph something on their own. And no autotune, and may the best singer win. Why not? It started to become tiring. There's all of these musicals that they don't make much sense. Norveg, Jujubee spilled it at Roscoe's. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm doing so many things in the past weeks that I don't remember shit. Unless I write it down, you can bet that I will remember that I heard something from somewhere. But most of the time, I won't exactly remember what or where. Daytona, it was meant to be something funny where everyone laughed at it. Okay, well, there are videos. There is a video of Alaska and Sharon actually getting, down to business during a live performance. Back in a time where clubs were for mature audiences only. Honeybee, that interview with Jimbo and Tia was one of the most awkward things. That you think so? For me, it felt very, very natural. I liked that interview. It felt like being in the living room, and having a conversation together. Of course, Jimbo was being Jimbo. But it wasn't cringe for me. It was a good interview. It was a good interview. I like that Tia at some point she was like, she was trying to. It like Jimbo was talking too much, and so she was in that awkward position in which you're like, okay, what do I do? Do I give it some legitimacy by asking more questions, or do I try to draw attention away? Well, the fact, don't forget, um, it's not like the moment you start filming, that's when things are locked and ready. You actually spend time in pre-production. Part of pre-production is contacting different numbers of queens and saying, okay, we are doing this, can you free yourself? And after they have actual time, usually a week is more than enough to see if they can free themselves. They also need time to actually prepare. Time for actually prepare, usually in World of Wonders terms, means 4 to 6 weeks minimum. For the queens on the in season, I don't know if you realized it, but they started moving the auditions sooner and sooner, so that they might have a little bit more time to prepare, maybe a couple of months. But it's usually not that much. But the fact that they started filming in March for me means that at best they contacted the queens the beginning of the year, like the very beginning of the year, but probably even already in December. Fulani, I'm glad that you're finally watching Thailand. I am living for Thailand. It's literally so good. It's literally so good. And yes, Canada is my second favorite international version. Mine too. Mine too. Well, if we don't count UK season 2, because it's in English, so I don't really consider it like international, because I don't have to watch it with subtitles. Yeah, it's really good. It's so human. That's the whole thing. It's human. Bring back and I get an amen. Danny, Rusical made sense in season 6 to showcase Adora and Courtney's talent. Yes, that's when the whole thing was basically born. I mean, they had singing challenges before, but it was usually the queens reinterpreting one of RuPaul's songs. They didn't really have like the format, the Rusical. And it worked, it was great, but that is something that if you don't do it well, it's going to be a car crash. Like the moment you have songs that are not that good enough, the moment you don't even have the queens singing. I was complaining that, musicals, you don't need to have autotune, let the people who can sing actually shine. You know, that's what I was complaining about. And then they did this shit on UK versus the world where the queens don't even sing. It's literally like paid actors. It's like paid actors. I'm not sure if I'm even going to watch the next episode. Maybe I'm going to 8 watch it. Maybe. Just to spit at the screen every time Bag of Shits opens her mouth. Damien, Alaska's and Sharon Let's have a Kai Kai performance. There you have it. There you have it. Phoenix, many drag queens are not born to do drags. But for just $1 a day, you can help one drag queen be blessed by the drag gods to be born to do drag. Just $1 a day? That's a hell of a deal. That's a hell of a deal. Tell you what, tonight I'm really going to cut it short because I'm feeling destroyed. And I'm already feeling like really destroyed tonight. I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe I'm starting to get a little bit of a flu. But I tested myself. I test myself every day, so I don't have anything from that point of view. But I feel really destroyed today, so we're going to have a short live stream. When are we going to see each other again? I think on next Sunday. I don't know, because at some point I will not be on live stream for a while because I need to travel a little bit. I don't know. Where's my ticket? Oh, the end of March. Okay, so it's still a long time. So I'll see you back on Sunday. I am on Discord. If you want to have a chit chat, just come on the Discord. I'm not hard to find. And then I'll be publishing a tiny video of this live stream, and maybe one more thing, maybe another video, because I worked on a little bit of something, which is something stupid, of course, but probably I will publish it this week. Thank you so much for joining. I will see you back on Sunday, hopefully better already, more awake, with my voice actually not going down. And in the meantime, stay safe. I hope you will have a great week as usual. And I'll see you back soon. Thank you so much for joining. Good night, everyone.